Paddleboard EG is the best. She's so happy on the water. Also, hello! Steve got home like 8 minutes ago. So we were...
That's not a wait at all. Yeah, yep,
He's feeding Miss Dina. Hello and welcome to tonight's stream. We're playing Santa Maria with the American Kingdoms. I always want to say New Kingdoms. American Kingdoms expansion. So Santa Maria is a dice drafting tile placement game, which means Steve's gonna win. But I'll give it my best effort. It's designed by Christian A. Ostby and Elif Svensson. Sorry for butchering your name. And the expansion is by the same designers as well. And yeah.
Oh, Expansuary. Which stream of Expansuary is this?
This is stream number 2 of Expansuary, and this game was voted on by our Patreon supporters. Thank you, Patreon supporters. Let me just blow out my candle. I've never been a candle person, ever. And I was at our grocery store that I go to, and I walked by, I was going to the wine beer section, and they have like a home goods thing, and I walked by it, and there was this smell, and I was like, what is that amazing smell? And it was a candle, and so I bought it, and now I'm hooked on this brand of candles. I bought another one. I own 2 candles now.
Is this a slippery slope?
I don't think so, because
of all the hot wax.
I'm allergic to so many, like, essential oils. I'm allergic to, like, plants. It's a thing. And I prefer to eat vegetarian. It's very awkward for me.
So you're allergic to scents?
Oh, yes. Ow. But the wrong candle will just, like, set me off sneezing or give me headaches or anything like that. So,
senseless.
A lot of candles are too intense for me, and so I've always been like, well, what's the point if I can only get unscented candles? But these are, like, super mellow, and I like them. Anyway, it's patty wax. And they come in cute mason jars. That actually helps their case. But that's nothing to do
that is their case.
With our stream tonight. Okay. Angelin says it sounds intense. That's pretty good too. Oh, that's good. So Santa Maria came out in 2017 at Essen 2017, and we picked it up, and it was not really on our radar. It was a little bit on, EG's upset, but it was a little bit on our radar in 2017, but it wasn't like intensely on my radar. It was like a bleep, just out of range. I didn't super care about it. I picked it up because it was really popular at the show. We brought it home. We played it. Everybody that we played it with was like, oh wow, this is a great game. This is really fun. This is really interesting. It does a lot of really unique things with the dice placement and the drafting. By golly, it's a shame about that theme. So, it hasn't had a lot of success in America because the theme is about the colonization of the Americas, and the art's a little cartoony, and there's some, like, they made it, like, there's some historical accuracy, but it's not, like, nice treatment of it. So, a lot of people, and they're like, the victory condition is whoever has the most happiness, which is victory points, and happiness is, like, these really cartoony, smiley faces, which are very clearly, like, just fat Europeans. So it's, like, it's a little, like, tongue-in-cheek about American colonization, specifically the conquistadors in Southern and Central America, and the expansion just expands upon that. So if you don't like the theme of the game, you're not going to like the expansion. Just going to start with that.
Wasn't there a one sheet about, like, the history of the colonization?
Is a sheet, yes.
Like, they did actually talk about some history in it.
Yes.
It's not just...
No, they're not just, like, completely blowing it off.
Rainbows,
but,
yeah.
But we really like it. We still like it. I will go on an entire huge rant about theme, 100%, but, this does not upset me as much as significantly other amounts of games in the world, and that's why we still have it. But I actually wasn't really planning on streaming it a lot, but so many people were interested in the expansion that it won the poll. So I was like hoping that it would just like fly out of the right. It did not. It won. Like clear winner. So that's what we're playing. I would show you the box. We don't have the box for the expansion because I get rid of those. So
it was like orangey, right?
Yes. It's an orange one and it's the Mayans. Like shows the Mayan temple. Yeah. So speaking of stuff, Australia Day was recently for Australia, and like that's another awkward one. So it's kind of like Columbus Day, and it's just not.
Yeah, it's
the world we live in. I love it, but it's weird. So let me.
Yeah, it's always, I always think it's good to know what happened and when, but.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
So here's the deal with the expansion. The rulebook is massive, just huge. It's ridiculous. There's they didn't put page numbers on it. Actually, it's multilingual, so this is every language that they've published the game in, so that's why the expansion rulebook is a beast. But in the language of your preference, the expansion is only 7 pages, or 8 pages, sorry. So it's actually only 8 pages, which should make it easier. And the expansion is actually 4 expansions. So, and you mix and match. So you can play with 1 of them, you can play with 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them, and you can mix them in any way that you want. We're going to play with 3 of them. We played with 4 of them last night and decided it would be an awful experience for you, the viewers, and us at home. And we'll talk about why at the end of the stream. So if you are interested in learning about the Mayan player, which is an asymmetrical player that allows the game to be played with 5 players, because originally it's only for up to 4. If you are interested in that expansion, there's a timestamp down below in the doobly-doo if you're watching in the future. If you're watching in the present, unless you can time travel via video, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that yet, have we?
The time?
The thing in the future.
No,
yeah, it hasn't happened yet, but it will.
But there will be a timestamp down below linking to when I pull out and explain the Mayan expansion. So if you're just interested in the Mayan player expansion, or if you want to hear about all the expansions that we're going to do and then skip to the Mayan, you can do that if you're not here for the playthrough and just for the expansion explanation. So,
You'll expand upon it later.
I will expand upon it later. So there's 3 expansions, and there's a lot of stuff in this box. Hey Paul.
You mean like 3 modules?
What?
You said 3 expansions. You mean there's 3 months?
I don't know. I don't know what I said anymore.
Okay.
You've confused me.
You said there were 3 expansions.
Put these in a bag. There's 3 expansions we're playing with tonight. Put these in a Netters bowl. Link down below in the doobly-doo. I don't know if Netters has updated her store recently, but we love Netter bowls. Highly recommend them. Even Xena, while thrashing her toys around. So, the setup is pretty similar, but if you're playing, basically you set up the game like you would have for the base game, and then you kind of like bolt on the modules that you want to play with. So we're going to go ahead and do the base game setup first, and then I'm going to explain the setup for the expansion. And if you want to learn the base game setup in full crazy depth and teaching, there's a stream for that. We streamed the base game last year, so you can go and watch that if you are curious. If you want to watch just the base game. Can you please not? Yeah. When Steve plays with Xena and Ichi's penned up, Ichi gets jealous and barks. And normally that annoys me. But while I'm streaming to the internet and recording it and then have to edit the dog barks out if they get too high later, it pisses me off. So yeah. Okay. So, in the game, each player has their own, basically like colony that you are working on growing, expanding, and you have colonists that you will recruit to come to your colony. And the way that your colony thrives is your colony will activate different buildings and areas of itself by depending on which dice you draft during a round, and the game only lasts for 3 rounds. So there's more that you can do on your turn, independent of the dice drafting, but really you have pretty limited turns. You're gonna have, like, minimum, not even a minimum, a recommended at least minimum, 3 turns around, and then, you can do more, obviously. So, alright. That's an expansion. There's so much stuff. So the Mayan player expansion actually has 2 baggies full of stuff, because the Mayan player is so involved. There's the other one. So I'll leave those out and talk about those later. Okay. Each player, we already put the expansion stuff in the player stuff, but there is a new player board in the expansion that you can use with any of the modules. But, so there's 4 boards, and then there's the new 5th one, which the one side is the Mayan player, and then the other side is just the new base expansion board. So, do you wanna... I'm gonna randomly pick one of the OG boards, and then we will randomly assign either Mayan or not to a board. So we'll do that. Alright, Kairos. Left or right?
I don't go by labels.
Alright, so that's his board. Sweet, I got the new board. So the new board introduces a new resource, which is Cacao. Woohoo! So there are 5 resources in the base game, and the expansion introduces Cacao, which is the 6th, but Cacao is interesting, there's no wooden bits. So that's kind of like the base expansion, is the fact that there's now Cacao. I
just like saying that word.
We're going to be using Jason Dinger's beautiful dice tray that he made us today so that the rolling of the dice is not loud. Well, the mic's off the table anyway, but we like to use the dice tray. Can you go ahead and shuffle and do the ship market for me? And I'm going to go ahead and let's talk this.
Do you have the starting ship tiles as well?
They are
in this bag.
In this bag. Okay. So I'm going to explain all the expansion things, the 3 modules we're playing with one after another. But first, the Cacao. So the new Cacao resource, there's no wooden resource that represents it. Instead, each player has a Cacao token, and one side has pretty art and the other side is grayed out, saying that you've used it. Each player is going to get one of these tokens and have it filled, which is color side, face up, near their player board. So there's that. Then there is a new, there's a couple new bishops and scholars. So in the game, there's these bishops, and then there's scholars, and they're kind of like, the bishops get you points at the end of the game. The bishops give you points at the end of the game, but you lose points for taking them in the base game. In the expansion, you no longer lose points for taking them. You just gain points, and then there are also new bishops. And scholars allow you to have abilities that you can use throughout the game, kind of allow you to, like, bend or break the rules. So there's new scholars as well. And the way the expansion is designed is, if you're playing with the expansion, which means you're playing with Cacao, you will always put in 1 scholar of the new scholars. And so, here's the starting ships. What you're gonna do is you shuffle the scholars like normal, but you make sure you shuffle the expansion ones separately. Of course, I have to remember which ones are the expansion ones, but don't worry about me, kids. Okay. There's only 3 new expansions. That's all of those. Okay. So you're going to shuffle the OG ones. You're going to put 3 out. That's normal. And then you're going to shuffle the new ones and put 1 of the new ones out. 2, 2. Okay. So the new one, oh no, has a fancy little board tile thing that you put next to it, and so that's there. Then you also now have new ships. There's new fancy ships, and Steve is already shuffling them. Fantastic. But there's only ever going to be 1 of those ships out at a time. I'm going to double stack that. So you just have 1 out, but these new ships are worth more points, and they have Cacao in them as well.
And they have a different back.
Yep. In addition, regardless of which modules you're playing with, there are now 6 new expansions that are 3x1s. You're going to shuffle those, and you're going to put 2 out, along with the 5 normal expansion tiles. There's room over here near me to just put this money. I can just leave that there. So those you're going to put out if you're just... Oh, and then there's this new board that I mentioned that makes it where bishops no longer cost points. And then you're going to shuffle the new bishop tiles in with the old bishop tiles. It also changes the value of the last natives spot so that the natives now give you Cacao instead of points. Okay. So then you're going to put out 3 bishops, which I don't know if we got an expansion one in there. Did we get an expansion one?
It's hard to tell. There's 6 in the base and 3 in the new.
We did! The Conquistador one is you gain the points you received for your position on the Conquistador track in the 3rd round 1 extra time.
Wow.
So there you go. Okay. So that's just adding the expansion Cacao content by itself. Now, modules. So the first module, the easiest module to explain, is the Ambassador Dice. So the Ambassador Dice are dice, one blue, 1 white, that you will have available every round. And when anyone takes one of these dice, they will use it on their board like normal, and then after they adjust it and use it, everyone else that they're playing with gets to use the die as if they had taken it, but it doesn't take up a spot on their board. So it is very powerful if you are the one if you're not the one that takes it originally. But if you're playing with the ambassadors, each player is going to start with no blue dice, because normally you start with your own blue dice. Instead, we just have this blue die. And you're going to remove 1 die for each player from the white die pool, because this die is now representing that. So we're going to be rolling 6 dice every round, because we're going to have 2 for each of us, and then this white one and the blue one. So we'll roll these 6 every round, and then we'll take turns drafting, or we'll take turns taking turns, and one of the things we can do is we can draft dice, and that includes the ambassador dice, which work just like normal dice, except for that added bonus of when one of us takes an ambassador dice, the other one gets to also benefit from it. So that's the ambassador dice. That one's really straightforward, easy module. It makes the game a little faster because there's 1 less set of dice per player for people to hem and haw about. So that's kind of a perk. Reduce AP. So
I don't know anybody who has issues with that.
Next module is the governor, which Steve's just assembled.
Governor?
So
he's my cyborg governor. That's why I just assembled him. It's better than the previous one. Stronger, faster.
I hope he's not faster. He was cheating last time.
He was cheating
so
last
fast. So the governor is a little dude on a stand, and every player is going to have one, and they're going to put them in the corner of their
I
board.
think I'm actually going to use mine without the stand.
Yeah, I think we should use them without the stand. But normally it comes with a stand. But if you're streaming for the internet and you have a top-down camera, I recommend... So, the governor is really annoying. The governor is going to survey your colony, and he will either give you points or make you lose a ton of points at the end of the game. So every time you take a die, if you take a white die from the draft pool, and that die is in the column that the governor is in, the governor will move to the right. He cannot move onto spaces that are occupied by coins or dice, and so if he can't move, he just won't. But if you take a white die, and the white die corresponds with the column that the governor is in, the governor moves. So it gives you an incentive to take a die that the governor starts in. If you take a blue die that the governor is in, the governor moves down. So you want to snake your governor all the way down to the opposite bottom corner, because if you leave him up at the top, he is negative 12 points at the end of the game. But if you manage to get him all the way down here, he is worth 12 points at the end of the game.
Wow.
And the spread is pretty awful. He's only worth positive points, like, down here. And, like, the bottom...
You have to move him
like
basically
8 squares. 7 times. Yeah. He and right here and here, he's only worth 1 point. So he's a jerk. And you want to get him down into this bottom corner to get points. Otherwise, you're losing points from him at the end of the game. And he is harsh. Like, it's like negative 12, negative 9, negative 6, negative 1, and then positive 5 points. But, yeah, negative 11, negative 10, negative... Yeah, it's pretty harsh. So that's the governor, and that's all he does, because he's a jerk. And that's the governor module. So it makes it more... You kind of have, like, a goal for your drafting of dice. So there's that. The third module that we're playing with tonight is the specialists. So these have their own little tiles, and we will give them a cursory shuffle. And they are
sounds like a dance move, the cursory shuffle.
They are available for purchase when you draft a die that corresponds to one of them. So we're gonna... it's a very tall tower. We're gonna reduce the height. We'll just put them over here to start. But you're gonna put one specialist under, face up, under every die spot. And when the game happens, so we'll have dice. Wow. Okay.
Well done.
Yeah. So when on my turn, if I take a dice, if I take the dice, one of the 1 dice, I have the option of purchasing this conquistador. And if I purchase the conquistador, I have to pay 1 coin, if it's my first conquistador. And I just take it and put it nearby someplace. But when I take him, I would go up on the conquistador track, which I haven't put a thing on yet. But I would go up 1 spot on the conquistador track when I take him. If I spent a coin, made this dice into a 5, so it's really here, and then I bought this die. If I wanted this conquistador, I'd have to pay 2 coins to take him because I already have 1. And you can have maximum 3 of a kind for the specialists. But when I did purchase him, he would let me go up twice on the conquistador track because he is my second conquistador. Your third specialist will let you get 3 of whatever it is you are getting, but you have to pay 3. So that's the specialists that have pictures on their pretty faces. Otherwise, we have the upgraded specialists, which they have their own little wagons, and they live in the wagons in the middle of the roads. So when you purchase one of these, they only cost 1 coin if you are putting them on top of an existing building or road spot. But if you want to put them on an empty field spot, they're going to cost you 3 coins. However, they act just like a building, in that when you use a die in a column that they are in, they will activate and you will gain whatever is depicted on them. So it's like a single square building, which doesn't exist.
And you can cover any built-up
yes.
square.
Yep. So that is the specialist expansion, and that allows you to do single placement of buildings, which is really handy because these are, of course, not singles. Can you put 5 of the 2 and then 2 of the 1?
Oh, one thing also, it's probably hard to see on here, but the cost for these is actually a misprint on the tiles.
We have the first edition that has a misprint. So
if it looks like I'm cheating in this instance,
yeah.
I am not cheating.
The cost for these ones is supposed to be 2 wood, but it's misprinted on our tiles and says a wood and a green.
But yeah, later. Should probably find.
Yes. We just have a first edition. A first edition, hot off the presses. Alright. Hey, Vinyl Rabbit. Whew. Oh, thanks for linking that, Mad Boner. Okay, so that is the 3 modules that we are playing with tonight. If you don't remember, in this game, we will play for 3 rounds. We will take turns until one of us passes. When you pass, you get to select one of the bonuses. But your options on your turn is you take a die. When you take the die, if it's a white die, you will activate every building in the column that has not been covered by something. And so if it's a resource spot, you just gain the resource. If it's a prayer religion spot, you go up on the religion track. When you pass certain parts of the religion track, you gain monks, and monks allow you to activate scholars or bishops. Or the native bonuses. Also, if you get the Conquistador, you go up the Conquistador track. That's how you get gold. Gold is a wild resource, basically. In this game, you can use cacao or gold to make a die, whatever you want. Otherwise, you would have to spend 1 coin per pip that you want to change on the die, and the dies don't wrap. So money can be tight. But that's what cacao is useful for, in addition to different contracts that'll come up that want it. So there's that. At any time, you can sell a basic resource for a coin, so that's wheat or wood, or you can sell an advanced resource for 2 coins. But basic resources cost 3 coins to buy, so it's not a great deal. So yeah, we are trying to gain the most happiness, and we'll do that by completing shipping contracts, unlocking scholars, unlocking bishops, and also we have colonists on our board that we're going to put down. At the end of the game, for every complete row and column that we have, we score 1 point for every colonist in that row or column. So.
Which means they can score twice if you complete both the row and the column.
Yep. So.
Or 2. Some of the tiles have 2 colonists.
Some of the tiles do have 2 colonists. Ugh. Hero Logic is here for the Ichizina stream. Oh, if we had a puppy cam, they're pretty happy right now working on Chewies together. It's actually pretty cute. I think this is the closest they've ever sat together while working on Chewies.
Oh, but
that is the word that I use to describe what you're doing, yes. Alright, on that delightful note, we will roll off to see who goes first.
We'll roll out.
I got a 4. I rolled a 4.
Oh, because we're not actually using those dice. Like, you just ruined them all. I got a 3. Lowest goes?
No. Highest goes first.
Okay. I'm rolling the ambassador dice.
Okay.
Starting
player gets 3.
Yes. Next player gets 4, and everybody gets a wood.
Yep. So I'll get 3 coins, Steve will get 4 coins, and everybody will get 2 wood. Flinging money everywhere. Alright. Let's see if we can get the camera a little closer. This game is such table spread, though. How much closer?
I don't know how much closer you can make it.
Steve has better visualization skills than me. Did you hear that? That's what Vinyl Rabbit says. I don't know what skill is involved in filling a board, because Steve does have that skill more than me, but I would not go as far to say that he has better visualization skills.
I have better imagination skills.
He cannot pack suitcases or the car, but he can put tiles on a board.
Yeah,
by golly.
That takes visualization. If
Like,
it involved
you're not-
imagination, I'd be able to do it.
You're not good at 3D Tetris filling games. You're good at, like, 1D or 2D.
Oh, wow, one-dimensional games. Wow, that's
Yeah.
harsh.
I mean, I'm just calling it how it is. Can I have my 2 wood? Please? My starting wood?
You get 2
Also,
wood?
where's
I
your
thought
cacao?
only
We all get 2 wood. You got 2 wood last night. Where's your cacao?
Oh, it's done. It's weird how it fell all the way down there.
Okay. We ready?
Yeah, roughly.
The dice have been rolled. If you're interested in the Mayan expansion, go to the timestamp down in the doobly-doo to skip to the Mayan. Oh, we didn't turn those lights on. That's good. There's such back there. Oh, well, that box is now a little damaged. Alright. There we go. Should be a little better. Yes, dear.
We also need our blue die. Oh no,
we don't get that because the ambassador.
Yes.
Yeah. Thought you could correct me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do we got? So that one is you get to use an activation building twice. That one, I'm just trying to figure out what the scholar tiles are. After you've activated a row column, you may leave the die on any vacant building in that row column. That's not necessarily the last. Okay.
Activate an income tile twice, or a trading thing.
When you gain a new shipment tile, you may immediately pay 1 or more coins to move this to another dock. 1 coin per dock that you move down.
Right.
The expansion
and
one...
then the industrialization one.
The industrialization one is... No, that's diverse columns.
Oh, no, I was talking about...
Yeah. Whenever you activate a trading building, you may carry out twice. Okay, then we have the bishop at the end will score 3 points, maximum 12 in total for each row column that contains at least one of each farm, forest, mountain, and city. And then we have ships and docks. Score 2 points, max 12 points per shipment tile you have outside one of your docks. So you pick a dock and you score 2 points per. And then the Conquistador one is we score the Conquistador track again. And then the expansion one is meditation. When withdrawing from the round, you may perform the action of the chosen retiring space twice. Exception, if you choose the 5th retiring space, you may only take 1 road tile. Ooh, what? You may take 1 road tile and then perform the action on any other vacant retiring space. Pretty saucy. Pretty saucy, if I say so myself. Huh, okay. Okay then. Alright. I am going to... Oh, that helps you too. Well, right. Righto, I guess. I will go ahead and take the blue ambassador die. I'm going to pay a coin to make it into a 2. So now it's a 2 for everyone. You're welcome. And then it will go here to get me a wood and a religion. Can I have a wood, please? And then it will go along here and get me a cacao, which is pointless because I already have cacao. That was my turn, but Steve, because he used the ambassador die, gets to use 2.
A blue 2.
Uh-huh.
Which will just give me a wood and a religion.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take this 5. And first I will pay 1 coin to get this conquistador tile.
Oh, I could have paid a coin. Can I back? Oh no. Can I? No. No. I can't.
You would have had to get this one. You didn't use the one. You used a 2.
I did.
So I will get a green and another conquistador movement. Sorry, I should have 2. And then this will sit on that. Right, because it goes down even though there's nothing there. It just sits on the column. Or does it sit on the last thing that activated?
It sits on the last thing that activated, I believe.
Which would make sense. I guess we can just go with that.
This game's too harsh. It is harsh. Last vacant building space.
So colonists are not buildings.
No, there are roads. Specifically says roads are not building spaces. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the car. Okay. I don't like any of these dice. Oh no. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Cacao. And I'm gonna make this into a 5, which saddens me because I really did want that card. Actually, yeah, I'll make this 2 into no. I won't do that. Instead, I'll take this 4 because I want this cart, even though I can't put it anywhere amazingly helpful. I will pay a coin to put it on the 1 colonist I have. Bye, Jen. And then I will just get a wood, please, and a conquistador. But I can't actually take this wood because I'm at max 3, so the wood gets disappeared, but I get a coin back. Because I saw it. Take a bookie kid! And that...
How did that 3 turn in, or 2 turn into 2?
I did that. To see if you would notice.
I'm going to place a tile. I'm going to spend a green and 2 wood. And I'm going to get this tile.
Oh, that tile, eh?
Yep.
That tile, eh? Okay. You can take maximum 2 white dice around, but the ambassador tile dice don't count. BT dice. So I'm going to Cacao.
How do you know if you've taken the ambassador? Oh, because you keep the thing under it. Okay.
I'm going to do... I turn the 3 into a 5. And then all I get is another conquistador. And a... And then it's
okay. I'm going to use a coin to turn this 2 into a 1. And then I'm going to spend 2 coins to get the last Conquistador, which I don't think is and activate a 1, which moves the governor
to the right.
To the right.
Yep.
And then I activate shipping, which I guess I will do. And this goes in the happiness column.
Yep.
And then I get 2.
Alright. I am going to spend 2 wood and a wheat to pick this tile up. It's a shame you can't move them. So I do that. I guess I will do that. And that's my turn.
Alright.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this game. Like, normally, and then they were like, let's add modules to the expansion.
I'm gonna take this 2. And the ambassador one also?
Yep.
So I'm gonna take this 2. Just gonna move the ambassador to here. And then this 2 is, I'm gonna get a wheat and a sugar.
Yep.
And then it is gonna go down here where if I want to, I can turn a sugar in for 3 points.
My 2,
which I
because I also activate,
currently.
Gives me a religion. Because he did the ambassador, I also, and then I get a sugar and a wheat as well. And that was Steve's turn. And now it's my turn. And I will I'm gonna go ahead and pass, and I will pass with religion. So
oh shoot!
I get a monk.
I didn't get my 2 conquistadors when I took the second one.
So you get a gold. So I get a monk, and I get the blue die, which I roll and get immediately. So I now have a blue die I can use. And it's 2 to go to the natives, right? But is it free to go anywhere else?
I don't know.
Cannot remember.
Oh, I think you always pay 2.
Oh, you can always pay a green to advance an extra space whenever you advance on a religion track.
Oh, right.
There's
an icon for that on the board.
You may recruit a new monk.
Oh, if you were the first to place a monk.
Oh, that's right. It's free. And if you're not the first, it's 2 per player, which when we played last night didn't super matter. I'm going to place here. It stinks that I passed to get that. If I had remembered the green rule, I would have done the green rule. Can I retcon and say I did the green? No, it doesn't work that way because I didn't have the green until. Tally-ho! Alright, well. That's fine. Yeah. I am done. I don't do anything else.
Okay.
The rest is fine.
I'm gonna expand and do another tile.
Me too, Matt King. Me too.
Do 2 wood and green. So I'm gonna do this one. Go here. And
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
oh.
Oh.
I'm gonna sell this gold.
Well, have a good lunch then.
I'm going to sell this gold for 2 coins. And then I'm going to spend 1 coin to go here and get another grain and a sugar.
Wait, what did you do?
I sold something to get coins to activate a space with a coin.
Oh, right. You can
Because
activate
you can
spaces
always do
with this coin. Yep.
You taught that, right?
I didn't, but it's fine.
Okay.
I forgot. I played the Mayans last night, so my brain's all full of the Mayan stuff, and I don't remember any of the shenanigans of how to get the most out of this board, which is why I passed so soon.
And then I'm going to go on this tile, which gives me a wood and another conquistador, which gives me another gold. And I will sell that gold for 2 more coins.
All this talking and napping has made me very tired.
And then I will use 1 coin. I can just do this, right? I can activate whatever I want just by spending money.
Yep.
So I'm going to activate
Wish
that
I had
to
remembered
get a
that.
gem, and then I will use my last coin to activate this ship, and I will complete this contract, which is a gem into sugar for more happiness.
Steve's gonna win, because I crippled myself.
And then I will sell this wood for 1 coin, and then I'll activate this spot, which gets me a wood and a pear. I feel like I'm breaking something.
You're not. You're just going bankrupt.
And then I'm going to spend this green.
You just won't have a lot.
To advance an extra to get myself a blue die.
First. And then get your monk.
And then
You do roll it. Yeah. You wouldn't let me retcon. But my turn would have been way better if I... You live and learn / watch YouTube playthroughs and laugh at my stupidity.
I'm gonna get this one, which is the bonuses. And then I can use the 5 because I haven't passed yet. Right? There's no real reason for me to, though. Except I can use the cacao to make it anything I want. If I wanted to.
Drag on my torture?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Can we start over? Like, the game?
I mean, we can. And then I am going to... not use the cacao, so I'll waste the cacao.
Great. I wasted a lot.
Or spend a wood for a coin, and then spend the coin
To make it a 6?
to make it a 3, actually.
It's 2 coins. It's 1 per pip. Cheating Steve. Cheating Steve. Just whatever he's cheating Steve.
Then yeah, I'll spend it to do a 6.
That's an effective use of your resources. But he's a lot poorer going into the next round than I am.
Very cool.
I've been adjusting my sleep schedule to be on East Coast time. So I'm tired.
Alright, and then I have 2 coins. And then I activate these, which gets me 2 points.
What is that? This thing is.
It's a pot.
Nope. Those are off.
Okay, my turn.
Okay, so that's the round. So we resolve who's ahead on the Conquistador track. Spoiler, it's Steve. He'll go ahead and get 4 points for a 2-player game and being ahead. And I get nothing! You get nothing. All of the specialist tiles will be discarded, and new ones are put out. And then all of the...
That was... Oh, you did it before.
All of the expansion tiles are discarded, and new ones are put out. And we reset the Conquistador track, and then Steve will go first because he, passed on a tie thing. But we will clear our boards of money and dice. So that comes back. And then all his money that he spent wisely, maybe, is discarded. And then we re-roll the ambassador dice. And then we re-roll all the white dice. And then we will each... Wow!
How are we doing?
I wonder if there's a thing in the rules about this.
If there's too many in a certain thing. There are.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely dice placement games that do that.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Nope. No. There's not. We just have a lot of fives this round. I'm gonna lose so bad, y'all. Great. And Steve starts. Did you roll your personal die?
Yeah. It's a 6.
Alright. Ichi is the number 1 dog. That's why she's named that.
Well, I'm feeling pious. Let's take the Ambassador 3.
I am not on the East Coast today. I will be on the East Coast tomorrow.
Right.
But I'm on the East Coast time. Because I have a business meeting and I didn't want to be jet lagged for it. Because it's like an early all-day thing. So I was like, I'll adjust my sleep schedule early so that when I get there, I won't be jet lagged. And it's working. But I'm tired.
It's working too well.
I got up at 4:45 this morning and yesterday morning. So, yep.
It's 2 points for the ships in 1 row.
Yeah.
Or I can pay into the ships.
Gotta get that.
And then a green.
Dang. Oh, you did the 3. You did the 3 ambassador.
So you get the 3 ambassador.
So I get a religion.
And then it goes.
And
shoot.
Bye. Cool runnings. Cool. There's that. I will go ahead and pay 5 wood and a green for a tile. And I will take this tile. Yeah. And I will spin it like so.
Plot thickens.
Just like a good suitcase. This is the game that has the controversy over happy-looking conquistadors. And the expansion does show a darker side in the Mayans, which we are not playing. There is a single player board, and I would show it to you, but it's the other side of my player board. there's a single asynchronous player that plays as the Mayans, and the Mayans are a lot harder to play because when people gain gold on the Conquistador track, they take it from you. And you don't build a colony at all. All you're trying to do is, like, play cards to activate stuff, but you're taking dice still. So it's interesting. We played it last night, but in 2-player, it's really weird because there's no player interaction. Steve had full run of all the tiles on the board that he wanted.
I can ship if I want. I am gonna ship.
This is weird. At 2-player.
This starter one. And then I get another wood. And the one's more on the confused.
Alright.
You can't get more than 2 specialists, of course, right?
Correct. I'm gonna go ahead and pay a coin to make this into a 6. And then I'll get a blue gem. I get my cacao back. I get a sapphire. And then I get 2 coins. And then I get religion, which gets me another monk. And the monk will go there. Now it's Steven's turn.
I'm gonna get a tile. It is going to be this one for 2 wood.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay, I've got to get this darn governor off my case. So I'm going to spend a cacao to make this 5. I'll make this 6 into a 1, blue 1. So my Conquistador is going to go down. And then I get to ship. And I'll go ahead and do a blue gem delivery. And get this one. So there's that. And then I will then... I get a blue gem back. Fancy that. And then because I did the blue ambassador as 1, your blue ambassador goes. Oh, I helped you with your damn governor.
Is it? You did it as a 1.
Yes, you have to play it as a 1.
I have to play it as a 1.
Yes, which helps you.
So the governor goes down.
Yep.
And I get to ship if I want. Which I can't, but then I do get a blue gem. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
So now it is my turn.
It is your turn.
I'm going to use my cacao to turn this 6 into a 4. And then I will get a blue, a sugar, and a green, and another blue gem, and ship once. I am going to turn in my sugar for 2 money, and then spend 3 money and 2 gems to get this fancy tile. A lot of money, but I will put it on the...
Oh yeah, you put it on the special ships. You put any dock that you want. except for your most numerous or populated dot.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Your turn.
Well, with options like these, who needs enemies? I'll go ahead and take the five die. I don't want to take the 5 die. You can't take that from me. You can't take this from me. You can take nothing from me. I'll do my blue 4. So I get a sugar and a wheat. And then I get a conquistador. And because of my special power, put the thingy back there. And that's my turn. It's your turn.
Okay, I'm gonna do a wheat and 2 wood. And get this tile. Your turn.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna trade in this sugar for 2 coins. However, I'm going to use one of those coins to turn this into a 6, and I'll use the other coin to purchase this wheat thingy, which I should put here. But that's you live and you learn. Or I could do that. Or I could do that. Or I could do that. I'll do. Oh, it's so expensive. Alright, I will pay the 2 extra to put it there. And then the 6 doesn't activate that one because it's already a thing, but I get my cacao back. And then I get 2 coins. Woohoo! And then I get a wheat. And then I'll leave it there. It can live there. And then it's your turn.
Okay. I'm gonna take a 5. Which pushes the governor to my last row. And then I get movement on the conquistador track on the green. And then I get movement on the conquistador track again.
Did you move me?
Which gets me a gold.
I will go ahead and sell my ruby for $2. And I will use one of the $2 to activate this space so that I may ship, and I will ship 2 wheat to gain this tile.
I am going to sell my gold for $2. That was not finished.
So it was.
I will use one of those to activate wheat and sugar.
There's no reason for me not to put this here to get to. Spend the money to get to money.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah. Final Rabbits on Twitch. Just bouncing around. 2 places at once. Chat's just quiet everywhere. The high for tomorrow, where I'm going, is like 9 Fahrenheit.
I am gonna spend a coin.
So that'll be fun. I'm really hoping my flight is not delayed.
I'm spending a coin to go here, which gives me a prayer and a wood. So I get a wood and a prayer, and then I'm going to spend a wheat to go an additional spot, which gives me a third. Do that one,
I will go ahead and do something similar. How did you get 2 prayer on that turn?
Because I spent one of my wheat to do a second.
Oh, right. Because if you have wheat, you can do... I'll go here to get a wheat.
You can buy wheat for $3.
And I can get a conquistador bump. It's your turn.
I'm going to activate my 4 to get a wood and ruby.
I will go ahead and activate Prayer of Wood Town. I get a wood, and then I get a prayer, and I'll spend a wheat to get another prayer, so I get my 3rd and final dice! Oh, that's not useful at all. Oh. It's cool I got this. Yeah, I fly through Chicago. I'm really hoping my plane is not canceled. My flight is not canceled. They were flying in today when I checked, so just delays because de-icing is my guess.
I am going to...
We're going someplace.
I'm going to sell okay, I'm going to sell a
wolf
wood to get a coin, and then I'm going to use that coin to activate a shipment. And I'm actually just going to ship my other wood, which will satisfy this, and go into my conquistador ship.
I'm gonna spend my cacao to turn this into a 2, and then my governor goes down, and then I go up on religion. That doesn't activate, and then I get my cacao back, which is very convenient, and that was my turn.
Okay, I'm going to sell a job for 2 coins.
Yeah, the wind is awful this year.
Sell a gem for 2 coins, and I'm going to spend one of those coins to go here.
I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna go conquistador track, and I get it twice because of my ability. So I get a gold, and then I get it twice more because of my ships.
What did you get the first 2 from?
And then I am done for the round. Still no points. But give me time. I did tweet that we were there.
I am going to spend 1.
Oh, I should have gotten another gold. I should have gotten another gold. I'm rolling in it, drinkings.
I'm just gonna get liquid. We passed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I am going to pass, and I'm gonna ship. And I'm gonna ship a sugar and a wood, which is going to give me prayer. Religion. And then I activate all of these. So
Night Vinyl Rabbit.
I get 2 movement
Stay warm.
on the Conquistador track.
Wait, what are you doing?
With this. We activate all these.
Oh, you passed.
That was my pass.
Okay.
I was shipping. And then I get 2 movement.
But what'd you do with your religion?
Track.
Oh, okay, you did that. Okay.
And I'm spending one of these to an additional one. So I didn't. No.
No,
Okay.
you didn't.
But now I passed another monk. So I will go. Here. And then I get 2 points. For my rest.
Okay. So we discard specialists.
Discard
There should be exactly enough of things we discard. There we go. I'm ahead on the Conquistador track, so I get 5 points. Oh wait, did you do your 2? You did. I finally got points. And you got your income, which is great.
And then the money goes back to my coffers, right?
Yeah. Okay, and then
I'm gonna roll the ambassador dice. 1 blue, 2 white. And I will roll the 4 white dice. I'm sorry I didn't roll this on camera.
That's
the odds of 3 ones are what, 1 in 217. I think this is like 1 in 1200. So.
No. Oh goodness.
This is why games have that rule, which are if you have too many dice in one column.
And we have the ambassador in this.
I'm sure someone in chat will say what the odds are. I think it was like, it's 1 in, I want to say 1 in 1200.
Alright. And then I get to go first. Well, I have a very... Let's see. Oh, and this resets. So many options. What do I pick? I'll go ahead and take one of these ones. Sure.
You'll take one.
I'll take one. Do I want that citizen? No. Because I'm going to complete this contract, which is a sugar, a cacao, and 3 money.
Let's see then.
And I will put it in the happiness pen, because happiness is what matters. And then, before I did all that, my governor would technically have moved to there. And then I go good. Shame. Okay.
My turn?
Yes.
I'll take this ambassador too. That city doesn't activate, but this gets me the sugar and wheat. And then that lets me turn sugar into 3 happiness, which I'm not going to do.
The ambassador for me moves the governor. Yay! And then I get religion. And then I get a wheat and a sugar. Thank you kindly, sir. Okay. Cinnamon. I will cry a river. Like this one. I will purchase style. It's the best style. Doesn't help me get anything during the game, but...
My turn?
Yep.
So I'm going to take a 1. I'm not going to get a wheat, but I'll ship first, so I'll ship this sugar.
How sweet.
Holy moly. And then 2 wood. Okay.
Sell that sugar to money so that I may spend a coin to make my blue die into a 2 so I can get religion. That's it. Religion, wood, and more religion. And I would get a monk for that. And some monk I will put. Ugh. I don't have money to pay for him to go someplace useful. This is some gold, which seems like a bad idea. Here. And then I get a conquistador, and then I get another cacao back. it's my turn.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Scott. Yeah, the color, the white dice activate all the buildings in columns, and the blue dice activate everything in rows, but you can spend a coin to adjust the pip. But you're trying to gather resources from resource buildings, and then use the shipping action to ship them to complete contracts. And then those tiles up there, when you get enough religion, you unlock the ability to gain them, and when you gain them, they give you benefits throughout the game, or points at the end. So when is... I told Steve about BGGC Japan. When's that happening?
I'm gonna sell with a coin, and then I'm gonna use that coin to activate this gem. Your turn.
I will... Wow. Actually, I can use my ability to put this here. Ha ha ha. So I'll use my Cacao to turn one of these ones into a 6. What? So, what? Just roll it. Then I get a blue gem. Then I get my Cacao back. Then I get 2 coins. Then I get a wheat. Then I get more religion.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the half of my board that does stuff. 94920 2020.
I'm going to...
I was wondering when those dates were. Labor Day weekend. Oh.
I'm gonna sell a wheat to get the...
I wouldn't normally be down to be on a cruise boat for that many days at sea, but...
I'm doing 2 wood.
Playing board games and going to Japan, worth it.
Okay, your turn.
And Alaska is awesome. I've done a cruise to Alaska. I like Alaska a lot. Okay, I'm going to use one of these gold as a wood so that I can purchase this tile.
I'm going to take this one and activate my 1 column. So the first thing I'm going to do is ship. I'm going to use a gold and a gem to complete this ship tile. And then I'm going to spend a wheat to get a coin, and then I'm going to use that coin to move it up to the top row. Because I can do that with that.
Yeah, the fact that it's Japan plus Alaska, I'm like, yes. Because I love Alaska. I just wish it was going to the Glacier Park. I don't know if it's going to the Glacier Park.
And then I get a wood.
I don't think it is. It's like Skagway and Juneau.
Your turn.
Okay. I will activate my blue 6. So I ship, and I will do this one. I will put it here. It's a thingy. And there we go.
I had a plan.
Did I dash it? Do I ruin it? You're gonna win anyway. No contest! You know, there's this beautiful blue ambassador dice. If you wanted to take that. Just saying. I mean, I would take it. I can take it. I just can't do anything with it. There's that.
Deep breath. Deep breath.
Why didn't you put your 2 ambassadors in a building? Should have done that. Can you review?
No, I didn't use that space anyway. I only used this one. So if the governor is in a place, you can't put a tile where he is, right?
Correct.
Okay. I am just going to use my blue 4. Okay, so I'm going to get green and a sugar. Another gem. And then I go over to this shipping spot.
Santa Maria is not light. No. It's straightforward, but it's not light.
Oh, you can use your monks to get things.
Yes. To get resources from the natives.
So if you want place to have monks, you should have
I should have 1 more monk out.
2 more. Oh yeah, 1 more out.
1 more monk out. What do I need? What do I need, Jack? I need 2 gems. That's what I need. 2 gems.
Okay, so the shipping that I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna.
We did get the expansion deck, yes. I don't know what Steve did with it. It was on the table.
It's up by the game. Oh, holy moly! I can just spend all of my resources. Not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna shut. Okay.
I'll ship. Do the 1. So I ship. I'll use my gold as a wild to ship to here. Which is a money spot. Just wish I got the money now, but I don't. And then I get a blue gem again.
And I can't pay to change that because you made it a 1.
Yep, it is a 1. Should have taken it. But you get a ship. Yep.
I'm not going to use the ship. Is that my turn?
Yeah.
Deep breath. Okay. I'm going to get rid of the sugar. 2 coins. And then I'm going to use 4 coins
You would, wouldn't you? That's what you got.
Okay.
Trying to figure out if there's a way for me to get. Yes, but no. The only option I have is to sell my gym and then do something with it, with the money that I get. But I only get $2. And yeah. Can you take a free action and then pass? That's a great question. Can you take a free action from the thing? Probably not. Probably not. Yep. Oh, no, you can. You do the free actions before your main action. So technically, you wouldn't be able to get something. Oh no, you can do it as often as you like, including before your main action. Unless there's an FAQ that says otherwise, I'm selling this to get 2 money. And then I'm going to pass, and I'll pass for religion, and I get 2 religion, which is overkill. But I get a monk. Now I have 2 coins, so I can put the monk someplace to make it useful. And I'm pretty sure the monk doesn't super help me. But That's 4 points, that's another thing. I'll shoot for that. I don't know if I'm actually gonna get it, but I'll do that. And then because I passed, I get $2. And then I get 2 conquistador, so I get a gold. And then I get 2 happiness. Because I passed, yo. And that's Steve's turn.
I think my best option is activate my 5, which gets me 2 conquistador, a wood, and the cacao, which shouldn't have waited so long doing the cacao, but it's fine. And you have passed, right? So it's the Steve show.
It's the Steve show. All day, every day. Steve time.
Alright, well, let's start off by selling the gem. 2 coins.
Portland is not a great place to be if you don't like the sun. Spoilers. Climate change means that we actually are in a drought and we don't get nearly as much rain or overcast skies as we should. So, we haven't gotten nearly enough rain this winter. It's not looking good for next summer. We're just going to be in another drought. So, yep. It's not actually rainy and overcast here anymore. It's a bummer.
Let's do 2 wood and that to get this.
Haven't even had dinner yet. This is a pack. He's just taking his time.
I was talking about.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's fine. Let's go on. Sleep when I'm dead. / on a plane. I don't understand why you didn't take that one. It would finish 2 rows for you. Unless you're trying to finish a column. I mean, Portland drought's still wet, but we're still in drought. This summer, it's pretty rough. We've had a lot of trees dying, which sucks because it just adds to the heat problem and like the lack of shade. And with the crazy winds, a lot of our older trees have been blowing over and breaking. So it's rough times.
Oh, it's not there.
Okay, Steve Show.
I'm gonna go here. Spend 1 coin to get 2 coins.
Oh, I didn't do that this round. I should have.
I'm gonna go.
Should have done that
to get sugar and wheat. I'm gonna go here to get a prayer and a wood, and I'll spend a green to get an extra prayer. And then I will go here to get a conquistador, which gets me gold, wood, and then I will spend 2 wood to put a.
I don't know, Aldi. I don't know which conventions I'm attending this year. My life is in limbo right now.
City here.
It depends on what job I get. I've been in the running for a couple jobs, and like the interview process keeps getting bumped out because all of us candidates are so amazing. So, I should know by the end of January which job I got, because I applied for a couple. So I have 2 paths, and there's one I really want, and then there's one that I would like, but I don't want it as much. So we'll see which one I get. But if I get the one that I really want, I will be at all the major shows. All of them.
Let's do a coin, and then go here, which gets me a monk, and then that monk is going to go here and get me.
If I don't get that job, I will do the other job, which means that I would be at maybe most of the shows. But it's a lot more. So yeah. Yeah. Game industry gigs. Game industry gigs!
And I'm gonna.
Thanks, Ollie.
I'm gonna spend a sugar 2 silver. And I'll use silver.
Somebody in the future is going to tell me all the times that he cheated.
So much. That's going to get me a conquistador and a wheat. And then I am going to go here to get another conquistador, which gets me another goal. I feel like I'm playing too much, but you can activate stuff. So I don't know. I'm gonna go.
I hope I don't break a leg. I'm going to a very icy place. Don't tell me that.
Okay. I'm gonna go here. Right.
Josh Taylor has reminded us of a rule that means that Steve's been cheating this entire game.
Oh, what's the rule?
The first time you pay to activate a building, it's 1 coin. The next time, it's 2 coins. The next time, it's 3 coins.
Okay.
This entire game is wrong.
I forgot that rule.
Yes!
Okay.
I don't feel guilty about not reminding that because I read the rulebook last night, and he read the rulebook last night, and he played last night with the rulebook while I played the Mayans. I win!
You win. Basically.
Thank you, Josh.
Right.
I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not this guy.
I was like, I feel like something's wrong.
Oh my god. His board is covered in singles. Just dollar bills. I did it 1 round.
Can we start over?
Cheated. Okay, I'm just gonna be really honest. I don't like this expansion.
Well, I did play it wrong.
No, it doesn't. No. You played the base game wrong. But, like, I like Santa Maria. I like the base game. It's got a lot going on, but it's not overwhelming. And there's a lot to, like, think about and stuff like that. And the different modules in the expansion just do weird things to it. And it's basically just like, did you complain about this? Well, use this module. Did you complain about this? Use this module. And it's like, what if I complain about just the theme? Like, what if I just complain about the theme and they don't give you anything?
Well, no, they give you the Mayan
which makes it worse. Which makes it worse.
Well, yeah.
Depending. So, okay, so both of our scores are completely wrong. Mine is more right than yours. I'm just gonna put that out there.
I should probably pass, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Josh. Oh my god. So we'll do endgame scoring, which will be entirely wrong. There's gonna be like a huge warning thing over this video at the beginning.
Just fine, we can just start over and play again.
No. You can play solo. I'm going to bed. I have to get up in 6 hours. So, basically, for in-game scoring, I have the page ready.
Oh, and then all my stuff would activate. But just
okay.
To go by the rule, so I get...
So you... so you sell your remaining resources for coins. So I get 2 more coins. And then you buy points where it's 1 point, every 3 coins is a point. So I just got 1 more point.
I would get...
Then, if you have a full row or column, you get 1 point for every colonist in the row or column. And you got the colonist thing?
2 religion.
Because you're a cheater?
I'm still doing my pass scoring, which is still completely wrong.
It's entirely cheating. Yes. You just don't even need to score, honey. I'm serious. Your score is not realistic.
No, I know.
I cheated 3 times. You cheated 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times this round. And you've done that both rounds. So your score is just not even worth, I think, calculating. Because it's so broken. Which is entirely both of our faults. But, because your board's almost, so you get 1 point for every colonist in a completed row or column, so I would get 5 points. I also am really tired, I didn't play very well. So, this is just a giant asterisk game. Streaming with Steve and Tiffany, we're not professionals. Okay. Then you get points for where your monks have gone. That would get you points. So I don't get anything for that guy because Steve cheated. And then I would get 7 points for that. So I'm just going to take a 10 and put 3 back. And then every set of harbor tiles you would score points. I don't have a complete set, so I don't get any points.
I have 2 complete sets.
Yeah, I noticed. Then you flip over your shipment tiles, and you get the happiness points on the shipment tiles you delivered. So I get 12, 18, 20, 22 points from happiness. 22 points from happiness. And then that's it. The expansion doesn't add any additional scoring. None of the expansion modules that we are playing with add any additional scoring. Except for the Cacao.
Well, the new bishop
tiles
add scoring
but
tiles,
they don't. Yeah. It doesn't add additional scoring that is different. The Cacao, however, if can you sell Cacao? Doesn't say, but it says resource. Sell every resource for $1.
And then you get 3 coins per. Or sorry, 1 point for 3 coins.
I know, but I don't know if Cacao counts as a basic resource. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. It never... You just have a Cacao storage, and it can only hold 1 Cacao at a time. You gain, yeah. You're not compensated if your storage is full. You can pay Cacao. You can't sell Cacao.
Yeah.
So I don't think the Cacao gets you anything at the end of the game. So, unless you have something that says otherwise. So that is, the end game scoring is the same for the modules that we were playing. You just score the bishops and scholars like you would normally. So there's that. So yeah, on that delightful note, my not so cheaty score, still cheaty, is 42. Still answer to life, happiness, and everything. And Steve's score is just stupid.
Well, because I score a bunch of I score all 3 bishop tiles. I've got a lot of happiness. I've got 2 sets of those. I've got a bunch of completed rows and columns, which are colonist points. It's all bad.
Yeah. So, let's talk about each of the expansions. Actually, no. So yes. Let's talk about each of the expansions that we play with. So first of all, the ambassadors. So the ambassadors are supposed to make the game a little faster because you have less AP, because you have less white dice out to pick from. In addition, you have less blue dice. So it's supposed to make the game a little faster because players have less dice at their disposal to pick from, so they have less AP. And they're also just taking less dice as well, because if one player takes the ambassador dice, everybody activates it. So it's not like you're waiting for everybody to activate an additional die for that.
Did you lose points for your ambassador?
No, I didn't. My governor, that's the score difference. The governor makes you lose points, and I would lose 6 points for where my governor is. I got him halfway there. So there you go. So my score is no longer the answer to life, happiness, and everything. It's just 36. Still logging this play, darn it. So, so the ambassadors adds, like, this interesting chicken element. There's, like, a race to take the ambassador if it's really good, but there's also, like, a chicken thing where it's like, I want you to take it because I want to gain the benefit without gaining the detriment, and that's interesting.
Yeah. And you might change the number of it.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
So the ambassadors are interesting. I feel like they're more interesting later game, but the ambassadors are interesting. the governor, I thought I was going to like the governor way more than I have liked the governor, because the governor in this game, like, sucked. We did not roll great. We had, like, weird spectrums of the dice, and I could have put more effort and attention into getting the governor along, but it just was like, he's just annoying, and I'd rather just take the penalty and compensate it. I feel like I could make up the point difference of what he's going to do if I can get him, like, halfway there. So he's like a cog in the wheel of just society, and he's annoying, and
he blocks tile placement.
Yeah, and he blocks stuff, and so he throws a cog in. So it's like, if you wanted to have more of a reason to pick certain dice, play with the governor. Or if you wanted an additional complexity on your drafting selection and everyone's drafting selection, pick the governor. But the governor starts in the same spot for everyone, and depending on how the dice are rolled, the governor might end up in the same situation. Ours definitely, like, split across, which is good. So you can see that, like, different people will have different governor situations, but yeah, not super keen on the governor, just because he's kind of just annoying and in the way. Which, if you want another cog to deal with and think about, then he messes
with the tile placement and tile activation and the dice placement. Like, it messes with everything in the game. Like, I think it integrates with the rest of the game more tightly than the other parts of the expansion. Like, it touches activation, tile placement, and dice selection. It's like it.
Maybe I feel like the Cacao is better.
I'm not saying better. I'm just saying it touches the most parts of the game. The Cacao is just pick the die. The die you pick can be whatever you want,
which is helpful. And the fact that you can only have one at a time is also smart. The other module, the specialists. The specialists are just another reason to want dice in different ways, and they're handy for bumping up scores, but you have to have money, and I really do like the wagons element of them. I like them more than the governor, that's for sure, but again, you have the problem of, if the dice hate you, and the way the things come out, it's just not gonna work. Like, oh, I really want this specialist, but I don't want to activate my 5 column, and it's gonna get discarded at the end of the round, and it would be a waste of a die and a turn to activate the 5 just to get that wagon. Yeah. So it's kind of one of those where it's like, well, it's nice if it works out, but I think it's just another thing to think about and to distract you while you're trying to deal with the governor. But at least these don't count against you. Mm-hmm. They just, if it works out nicely for you, they're great, and they help boost stuff along. But if it's just like, it doesn't help me, why would I go out, why would I do that? It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good about that. Oh my goodness, we cheated so bad, Netters. This whole game is null.
It's printed giantly on the board. Your first building activation is 1 point, the second is 2, the third is 3.
It's right there. I even looked at it at one point and was like, what's that for? Oh man. Anyway.
We cheated.
So, the expansion itself that adds the Cacao and the 3 tile and the extra shipping stuff and it changes how the points work for the bishops, and it adds the extra scholar. I don't mind that. I feel like that would be like a good promo or like small mini expansion.
It's a mini expansion. It's more than a promo. But
yeah, well, each module is
enough.
mini.
Like the bishop tiles no longer lose you points to take them, so it makes them more interesting. Like it.
Yeah. That one is like the least offensive to me. Because it feels like it just makes sense. They were like, how do we add a resource without breaking the game? And they added a resource that sort of breaks the game, but they did it in a very interesting, limiting way. Yeah. And so it was like, oh man, Cacao is great.
Yeah, it's a resource that does something different than the other resources.
Yeah. So the Cacao is fine. I don't know if it's worth it to buy this expansion just for the Cacao. As a matter of fact, I would say it's not. But let's talk about the Mayans.
Well, I was going to say, the governor was frustrating, but I did kind of like the specialist. The specialist The specialists plus the extra cacao tiles gave you this element of, like, there's a lot more trade-offs. So, like, there's even actions that aren't great can still get you something. So, like, even if there's a die that's not going to activate a lot, you can still get the specialist or the wagon. But it also means a lot of things are unsatisfying because it's hard for all your ducks to be in a row. Like, everything could be great, but, you know, the governor is in the wrong spot for tile placement. So, like, you sort of have to sequence things a little more to get things to line up in your favor, which, at least for me, meant I had a little more AP than when I played just the base game.
Okay.
Because there's more things I'm trying to get straight.
Can you take apart your cheaty thing so when people fast forward to see what the Mayan thing is about, they don't see how utterly... Well, you took the coins off, but you can start putting those tiles away. While I very quickly, very briefly discuss the Mayans. So the Mayans are weird. These are the extra ones. So the Mayans don't use any of the player stuff, and they only care about the dice. They don't care about shipping contracts. They don't care about expansion tiles, and they also don't care about the specialists and bishops. So the only thing they care about is the conquistador track. The monk track will give them benefits, but not in the same way, and the dice. It's literally it. Otherwise, they have their own unique player board. And on that player board, you have 5 temple slots that they're really trying to do. And in addition to that, they don't gain any resources in the traditional way. Instead, all of their resources are tracked with tiles, like how the cacao tile was. So there's a sugar tile, a wood tile, a cacao tile, a gem tile. There's actually 2 cacao tiles, if you're Mayan. So there's that. And you start the game with a wood, a wheat, and a cacao. And you can only have 1 resource for everything. So you can only have 1 wheat, 1 wood max. You have 2 cacao max, 1 sugar, and one gem. And then you have your own little special tiles to build your own little special buildings and paths on your board. Those are off camera. I know. And then you also have little cardboard tokens to put on the board for you. So instead of a conquistador, you have soldiers, and instead of prayer, you have technology. So that's how the Mayan player slots in. But the Mayan player is playing a different game than everybody else. Just literally a different game. He uses similar mechanics, different game. So the game that the Mayan player is playing is that when they take a dice, they start the die where it's depicted on the board. Doesn't matter if it's blue or white. And then they take the die, they activate buildings along the path, and then they get to a junction and they get to decide if they're going to go left or if they're going to go right. And then they activate buildings. Then they can stop activating buildings whenever they want. They don't have to go all the way to the end. So I could be like, oh, I'm just going to go get wood and that's it. But I already have wood, so I don't get wood. But when you activate a die, the die will be between 2 territories that have temples. And when you activate a die, you may build one of the temples adjacent to where you activated the die. So I could build this temple, which costs a wheat and a wood, or I could build this temple, which is a wheat and a cacao. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to build this temple. So I would discard by flipping my tiles, and then this is built, and then I put the next level on, which is harder to do, and then I gain the benefit. And each zone of the Mayan board gives you a different benefit for building the temple. So this one I would get 2 coins, and I can use coins to adjust the pip value like you normally would. Okay? So that's that one. This temple, you actually start the game with the amount of gold equal to the number of players. So I have 2 gold. And this temple, when you build at this temple location, you will, so say I built it, you get a head priest. And the head priest lets you do the coin trick, where you can put the head priest down on a building to activate it like you did a coin. But you can only unlock head priests by building the 3 layers of this temple, because every temple has 3 layers. And you have 3 head priests, and you can use each one, once you've unlocked them, once a round. So it doesn't increase in cost like coins, but you have to earn them. So that's this temple. This temple, you get little junctions to put on your road stuff, so you can skip a turn. So in the road, rather. So if I had this and I picked the 2, instead of just going... actually, let's put this here. Instead of going from the 2, instead of going just down this road or this road, this tile that I placed lets me go down this road now instead. So I could go here and then there. And then I could, build onto this temple, right? So that's what these are, but you only get 3 of these, because there's only 3 levels of the temple. So that's that one. And then this one over here lets you gain, when you build this temple, it lets you gain a resource of your choice, just so I can be like, oh, I built it, oh sweet, I get a gem. There you go. You get no compensation for gaining resources that you already have. So that sucks. Oh, wait, no, I got that wrong, sorry. This one, there's similar symbols. This one, you don't gain a free resource, you gain another resource slot. So there are extra resource slots for the base resources from the base game, and when you build a temple here, you gain whichever one you want. So I'd be like, sweet, I'm gonna have an extra wood now. So there you go. But you only can get 3 of these, so if you fully build this temple, you'll not have an extra slot of one of the resources. So there's that one. This last temple over here, you get cards. I haven't talked about cards yet. With the Mayans, the big thing with the Mayans is, instead of taking dice, you can't use coins to activate buildings. You can use your head priest. Instead, you play cards. And you have cards you have a hand of cards, and you'll get 3 new cards every round. And the cards have 2 sides on them, with different actions and costs. And when you play a card, instead of taking a die from the center draft, you play a card, and you say, oh, I'm going to do this side. And this one says, I spend a wood to build a building. And I build a wood building, which gets me the advanced resources, and then I can put the building someplace, and then I tuck the card under the board near the temple region that matches the color of the card. And the reason that's important is because the Mayans don't score points the same way all the other players do. Because everybody else gets points from shipping, they get points from scholars and bishops, they get points from completing a board, they get points from conquistadors, which technically as a Mayan you do. But as a Mayan, you don't get points for shipping or bishops or any of this stuff. Instead, you, at the end of every round when you pass, you multiply the number of cards you have tucked times the levels of built temples you have for each section. So if I had played more cards here and built this level, when I passed, I would get 2 times 2 because I have 2 levels in this temple built. And you do that for each region that you have cards in, and the cards don't get discarded. So every round you're going to have more points and you're going to snowball. This region, the gold region, you will gain points equal to the number of gold you have in the region, well, the number of gold you have at all, times how high this temple is. So in this case, I would get 6 points. Gold, however, is a pain, because when players, if you're playing with the Mayans, when any other player goes past a gold spot on the conquistador track, they take the gold from you instead of the supply. The only way to prevent that is the Mayan has to be in front of them on the conquistador track. So if Steve were coming along and he jumps to this spot, I'm already in front of him, so he would not get any gold at all. Which would hamper him. So the Mayans, you're trying to get cards down and build buildings and take dice so you can build the temples, and then play cards so that your temples are worth more points, but you also want to make sure you're paying attention to the conquistador track and putting soldiers on it so that you don't lose your gold because your golds are points. And if you get ahead on the track, no one else will get gold. And also you will get the points at the end of the round for being the most advanced on the track. So it's a very different game that you're playing. There's different things to think about, and the scoring of it is different because you don't have resources and combos the same way you do in the base game. Instead, you have card combos and building combos, basically. But the actions on the cards are pretty interesting. You have basic building ones. Then you have a trading one. The trading one, you get a coin, and then you can trade with either the game, and there's a little card that tells you buy stuff, basically, from the game, or you can trade with opponents. You can be like, yo, dog, I will trade you this. And then it's just like Catan rules, like anything goes, really. Then you have basic, like, conversion cards, so, like, convert Cacao into happiness. And then you have these technology cards, which are pretty cool. They snowball nicely. Basically, when you take a die, so I'm like, I'm going to take this 6. And be like, oh, I have this card in my hand that when I play a 6, I can reveal this card, I tuck it, and I get a technology. And that's how you get technology. And advancing on the technology track for you just gets you more cards. So, and that's what this temple does, is when you build the level of this temple, you get more cards. Because getting more cards is super important. Because if you don't do something during the game to get yourself more cards, you will run out. Because you only draw 3 between rounds. So yeah. So the Mayans are different.
I didn't did we play that if you pass gold, you also get it as the Mayans?
Yeah, I did it once.
Oh, you did it once, okay.
I did it once. We did not Conquistador last night. Alright. So, if you're playing with the Maya expansion module, only one player can be the Mayans. And it's designed such that if you're playing the game with 5 players, the 5th player has to play the Mayans, and then the other 4 players are playing Conquistadors. Conquistadors. Colonists. So, in a 2-player game, you are playing 2 entirely different games. And the player playing the normal one has no competition for anything except for dice.
Yep.
And so they don't have any competition on shipping, they don't have any competition on the bishops and the scholars, they don't have any competition on any of the expansion tiles. So in 2-player...
Well, also passing and the gold on the track.
You have competition for that. I can pass, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. You said you have no competition for anything except dice. And I was like, you also have competition for passing.
Yeah, you only compete for dice, the Conquistador track, and passing. And that's it. And so it's a very, very, very different game. Especially a 2-player. And I really enjoyed playing the Mayans. I enjoyed the puzzle. But I was sitting here doing my own puzzle, watching Steve do his own puzzle, knowing that there was nothing I could do to stop him. The only thing you can do to potentially stop them is keep them from getting gold. But that's this,
yeah.
or
hate draft their dice.
Yeah, that's all you can do. But the Mayans, the developers have even said the Mayans are like really hard, and so they designed them with the intention that advanced players would play the Mayan. So if you were playing with a bunch of new players, you would play the Mayans and everybody else would play the base game. But I'm like, if I'm playing with a bunch of new players, I want to play where I don't have to pay attention to what I'm doing and I can help them.
Yeah.
Which this is not that. So, yeah. I'm not super... I like it. It's really interesting. And I like how it interacts. I think it would be a lot more interesting at, like, 3 or 4 players. 2-player, I feel like, doesn't super work at all. There's a solo mode. I don't know how that would work. I think the Mayan would be fun if we gave John the Mayans, and then we just played.
You're doing 2 completely different score rubrics.
Yes.
So it's kind of like you're not being evaluated in the same way as your opponents. So I don't know. Like if we lost to John playing the Mayans, would we say I don't know, like, our only way to affect that would have been like, oh, like, we'd need to know how to play the Mayans well enough to know how to hate draft the dice that John wanted to do his board.
Yeah.
Like, we would have to be really invested just to find the ways that we could prevent him from doing it, and I don't know how satisfying that would be. At 2-player, I just completely ignored what Tiffany was doing, because there wasn't a huge reason for me to, because it's so important for you to get the dice that you need, that it wasn't really worth my time to prevent her from getting dice. Especially with things like the governor, where, like, I don't care if Tiffany wants a 2, if I need a 3, I need to take that because of the governor.
The governor, yeah. So that's the Mayan expansion, and we played with all 4 modules last night, and it was just a lot, and it was a lot to focus and think about and juggle for both of us, but Steve more so, because he had to play 3 new things at once, and like his dice cared more.
Yeah.
I was just playing I was playing my own game that didn't have things bolted onto it. Like, this felt good and smooth. The card thing was really interesting. We both cannot play as Mayans. There is one Mayan board, and the other side is the Cacao thing. So only one player can play as Mayans. And they have a little blurb about the Mayans. I haven't read it. But honestly, I don't like the expansion. And I'm bummed we got rid of the box, because I would probably try and sell it. I can sell it without a box, but it kind of just like I liked the Cacao bit, and that's like the only thing I want to keep from it, which is rough. But we don't play Santa Maria a ton. We have a ton of games, but we liked it a lot for what it was and where it was at. And it was good for us, and we didn't feel like it was sticky or it had any holes or anything like that. And so the expansion, I was excited for the expansion because of the Mayans. And I think they're interesting, but it just doesn't work really well at 2-player. Yeah. It's weird at 2-player. So yeah. But the funny thing is like, Steve and I both want to play the Mayans. Like, I want to play the Mayans again.
Yeah, I still don't even fully like, how you play the Mayans is so different from how you play the other players that I'm like, I don't think I'd fully get them unless I played them, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, how you wrap the dice around your roads and whatever. Like, I get it, but it's neat. I was just like, I would want to play it to rock it, because it's so different.
Yeah. So, I went to bed last night thinking about the expansions, and like I woke up this morning and I thought about them, and I thought about the stream, and at one point today I even was like, I kind of just want to cancel the stream and play something else. But it's not the point of the streams. The point of the streams is to stream stuff and show people how to cheat really well at games.
I'm so annoyed about that. Well, and part of it, in a way, last night, I played wrong last night, and Tiffany was playing a completely different game.
So I didn't even
realize that I was cheating, because I was literally playing my own game.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
But that's, that just is from the fact that we...
Well, that's right, we were playing completely different games.
Anyway.
And I do like the fact that there is an asymmetrical player. I just don't... I think it would be more engaging with more.
Yeah. I think it would be a lot more interesting to me if they had basically made a standalone game called the Mayans that used the Santa Maria stuff, and then there was a AI or something that was playing the Conquistadors. Mm-hmm. I think that would be significantly more interesting. So everybody could play the Mayans, and so then you had both sides, right? You had the Mayans, so you could play you could play Santa Maria as the colonists, or you could play Santa Maria as the Mayans, and everybody could do that. And then they could come out with rules where like you could mishmash it. And maybe that's what they tried, and it was too hard, and it doesn't work out, and that's fine. But that's more what I was wanting and expecting, and I know that now after having played this. But yeah, If they do make, I do like these designers, and I like this publisher. They've done some good stuff that we like. And there's still things that we like. We didn't need the expansion. Expansion rate is weird. We didn't need the expansion. We wanted it because we like Santa Maria, and it just kind of made Santa Maria sour for me in a more obtuse way. To the point where I'm like, we need to like take all the expansion stuff and keep it out of the box so we can play Santa Maria just as Santa Maria again, and decide if we want to even keep anything from the expansion or just sell it. So.
And I think of all the modules, I kind of liked the specialists just because they gave you the flexibility to play single squares and gave you a little more to think about drafting. But yeah, I don't know if the game really needed it, because I think it was fine without.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think the game is fine without everything for the expansion added. You know?
Yeah. Which is interesting, because sometimes I don't know. Like, if the base game was good on its own, how do you add to it? Like, are you gonna... Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. The Cacao, like I said, the Cacao is, like, seamless. It bolts on, but it bolts on in a way that makes a lot of sense and doesn't add, like, a super amount of brain power. And I thought that's how they were gonna add the 5th player on. But there's no... If you're playing with 5 players, you have to play with the Mayan.
Right, because there's no components for the 5th player color.
Yeah. There's no extra dice. There's no extra components. It's just... Yeah. So... And that's Santa Maria American Kingdoms.
Also, apologies for playing wrong.
Yeah. I'll add a big disclaimer before the video. But, I'm not super worried about selling the expansion with or without the box. If nothing else, we'll put it in the game library, like the Santa Maria, or we'll put all the expansion stuff in a bag by itself and just be like, don't touch on pain of pain, or something like that. But, it's one of the nice things about expansion, I will say. We get to play games we like with expansions, sometimes that we haven't played or vetted fully. And we get to give really honest, brutal, in the moment opinions.
But yeah, like, I kind of want to... the thing about a modular expansion is you sort of get to, but also have to figure out what combination of things you want. Like, I kind of want to play regular Santa Maria, and I also want to play it with just the Cacao bits.
Yeah. And maybe we will. And that's normally how modular expansions are designed, is like you add on what you want and what sounds interesting. And last night when we were deciding what to play with, there were some interesting bits, and we were like, we gotta stream it, we gotta give it the best show. Like, how do you stream? How do you do one stream and show all the modular expansions? And the answer is you make it a train wreck. So...
And that is the other thing about a modular expansion. When, like, some modular expansions, like, I remember when I first played Merchants and Marauders Seas of Glory, which I think had 8 modules, all of which had been tested together and independently by all the playtesters. You're kind of signing up for playing the game that you hopefully like multiple times to figure out which expansions you want. Because, like, rules like that, we're saying, hey, don't play with all the expansions of the first game, play with 1 or 2, and then add in the ones that you want. So... Do you want it, like, to figure out the combinations of Santa Maria? It would potentially take us another 3 or 4 games. Do I want to play 3 or 4 games of vanilla, or do I want to try mixing the expansions? I don't know. Yeah, it's up to us as the owners of the expansion. I think I just want to play it vanilla first and then go from there.
Yeah, I think I want to play it vanilla again. I think I'd like to play it maybe with the Cacao expansion, like just the Cacao and the Cacao bits. And then maybe the specialists. The governor, I don't like the ambassador dice at 2-player, and I don't like the governor.
Yeah.
Just no. So, did we plan a day for the Leaving Earth expansion stream? We have not. But there is a day in February that is a holiday that I don't know if Steve doesn't have work or not. But I don't have
I think I don't.
D&D, and I don't think we're traveling. Maybe. So we're gonna see. It kind of depends on the job situation for that.
And I need to sort of make my own replacement component cheat sheet, I think, for the still yet to be produced errata numbers for leaving Earth stations, which I'm very excited about.
And we'll probably play a cold game of stations before streaming it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Expansionary next week, I'll have a poll up tomorrow. I'm traveling all day, but I might put the poll up tomorrow. I might put the poll up Thursday. I might put the poll up Friday. We'll find out. But I'll put the poll up for what next week's expansion game should be. So Patreon supporters, you can go and vote on what game you would like to see for Expansionary. Last week's poll was between Caverna, the Fairy Folk expansion, Cry Havoc, Aftermath, and Fields of Arl, the Tea and Trade expansion. And Tea and Trade was in the second, which I'm glad it didn't win this week, because that is a long game, and I am tired. But next week it'll be much better. So I'm not sure. I can't remember off the top of my head what the fourth one will be. It probably will be something like, it'll probably be something like the Grizzled or Downforce or something like that. We could play Downforce or the Grizzled and then the Downforce to cheer us up.
That's a historical whirlwind right there.
Yep. But yeah.
Ichi, can we be done with that too?
But we will talk to you all next week. We'll see you next week, Tuesday at 7 p.m. And if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we go live for streams. Also, if you didn't know, if you're a Patreon supporter, you should have a message someplace where you get those, because I released a video, and Patreon supporters get it a day early, and some of it you already know because stream chat, you hang out with us a lot, but it's a video about the fact that we are not buying any games for the first half of 2019. We're not buying anything fun or interesting or entertaining.
On that note, we are going to have dinner and then go to sleep.
Yes.
Neither of which we have done yet tonight.
Yes. So thank you for watching again. Thank you for hanging out with us, chat. Chat, you are awesome. We love you. Also, thank you, Netters. And yeah, we'll see you all next week. Good night.
Good night. Thanks for watching.
She's gonna drink all the water. Okay. Bye.
Bye.